Steve Barcelona, you're a man with a lot of memories about Aldo Colombini.
You
So
know,
tell everybody who he is and what we're going to see.
uh,
The gist.
just a fantastic comedy magician. You know, a guy like a general practitioner type of a magician, but just really funny and just a great guy. We were before we came on here, we were talking, and he just happened to be around St. Louis a lot. You know, a lot of conventions and a lot of coming through on a lecture tour, and so I've met him quite a few times, and he's just always a hoot. I mean, you never walked away where you weren't just like, oh God, my side's hurting. That's how hard I'm laughing. So he's just a great guy.
Always known to be a great guy and a real favorite of magic magicians and magic clubs and magic conventions all over because he always did such a solid job. He always did magic that magicians loved to see and loved to perform. So
Mm-hmm.
why don't we fire this puppy up with the very first item on it? Normally we would have Alex here to tell us what it is, but we don't
Oh,
like to say the name of the trick going into it when you can see it right on the television,
this is
or even better, you could just get surprised. Guess, show them the one where they put the rope back together.
this is some old school right here.
Oh, yeah.
Your mother-in-law, and if you think that you don't have a mother-in-law, I will send you mine. She is at home now. She came for the weekend 3 years ago. Anyway, I said, look, Ma, I have here a knot, and this knot slide along the rope over there. And it slides also along the rope over there. And she said, stop, I got it. It's a small piece of white rope tied along the long rope, around the long rope. I said, probably it is, but sometimes it changes color. For the first time, I see her with the mouth closed. And she looked at me with strange eyes, especially the middle one. I said, look, Ma, I can repeat. I can do it again. I take the red knot and slides along the white rope over there, and I just do it again. It slides along over there. I do it again for you, just for you, look. Over there, the red knot, and again over there. And she said, stop, I got it. It's not a white piece of rope, it's a red piece of rope tied around the long rope. I said, probably yes, but sometimes it's a real miracle. The knot is actually inside the rope. And now here's come.
Let's hit pause on that baby.
I mean, just shamelessly doing the mother-in-law jokes.
That's but that's the kind of thing. Like there could be a great long debate magicians would have about those jokes, but there was no doubt about it that many average magicians on the street would watch Aldo perform and they would think, ooh, that's a good joke for me. Ooh, they're gonna love that mother-in-law joke. Ooh, that one's about Italians, and
That
I'm,
was the
I'm not,
thing.
you know.
Yeah, that was the thing, you know. He seemed very accessible. That's why you liked him so much, you know. He seemed like the same. That's really the thing, right? He seemed like this the guy you saw like in the audience seemed like the same guy that walked on the stage. So that made him just feel very like normal, like
I
someone.
think that's true. Very much like Mike Finney has that same
Yeah.
vibe about him. The other thing about Aldo and Mike Finney, this is very similar, is he's a gigantic guy. He was a gigantic guy, and he had this certain gentleness
Yeah.
that you can really only happens with really big guys.
Yeah, he was not intimidating in any way, but he was very big.
But I think at the end of the day, big guys learn that. I think he's not here today, so we can say the same about Alex. Alex is a big guy, but he's not intimidating, and I think it's because when you're a really big guy and you start to learn how to do magic, you really have to learn how to let people feel at ease around you. So you learn really how to let that bigness help you without
Mm-hmm.
actually freaking people out. Uh, that was what in that trick, the old jumping knot.
I think it is.
But
I
we
think
got
it
to
is.
see Aldo be Aldo, and I think I
Yeah.
can't even say the extent to which watching him do it made me miss him, and I'm looking
Yeah.
forward to seeing this next trick.
Yeah.
The fabulous jumping knot. It's gone ahead and gone through a few changes. Pavel's jumping knot routine, right? It
Yep.
was
Yep. Yep.
Daryl first called his presentation the jumping knot of Pakistan, and
Pakistan.
that went out of vogue for lots of reasons, and then back to jumping knots.
Mm-hmm.
Acrobatic. Thanks, Joe.
One of the
Appreciate it.
classics of magic, the linking rings my way.
This was the booklet I bought.
Oh yeah. Hey. I love that shirt. That's a sweet move right there.
That is a sweet move.
Look, Barbara.
You know, it's going to take everything that we can do not to just talk about that music. Steve,
I
you,
mean, there's got to be something said for 16-bit music. You know what I'm saying?
you're kind of an expert in many ways music has been made and sold over the years. That reminded me a little bit of like what would happen if you hit the demo button on the sampler in the
I mean, that sounds
Jordan
like a
kits.
Casio keyboard in demo mode.
That's right, right?
Right? It's on the horn setting. That's the horn setting. Yeah, that's I said 16-bit. It's probably 8-bit. You know.
So are you a ring man?
I was for a long time. I mean, I did rings. In and out alternative. They're not in now, but they were a long time ago. The thing about his thing is, he's got a lot of creative little moves there that you really haven't seen other people do. That's the thing. Like, I'm trying to think of what it would be like. Like, like the Aikido box, right? There's like so many routines and so many little moves and little things, right? And the linking rings are like that. There's so many moves, ways to link, unlink, things you can make, shapes. It just goes on and on and on, and he's got some creative ones in there that I haven't really seen anyone use.
My feeling is, if you're not doing a routine of that nature, if you're not doing a musical interlude routine, say you're doing a comedy ring
Yeah.
routine or something like that, you can use from 1 to 5 of these items. It's just, again, it's definitely magic crack. It's definitely wonderful stuff that magicians can just play with like a kitten with yarn all night long. You know what I mean? It's just every different move in there was an interesting move to play with.
Yeah.
Done beautifully, and a lot of it was just really magical. And like, I agree with you. It's not like I get to see these moves all the time. And those of us watching inside the club know that there's, I guess that linking rings has become a controversial trick in these last few years. I remember once being at a magic convention, and Teller, the magician who is obviously half of Penn and Teller, the half that doesn't speak on stage but speaks plenty off stage, passed out a, a, a document to everyone in the Magic Convention. 1,000 people received a document from Teller, which was an oath he bid everyone to sign, promising. You know how they give kids like the stay clean pledge for like graduation night? It was a voluntary pledge that he was bidding everyone to accept, that they would promise to not perform the Chinese linking rings until such a time that every layperson who had ever seen the Chinese linking rings performed on stage had been allowed to, and I quote, lapse into dotage or die before the trick would ever be performed again. Such was his feeling about the ring. So that's one of the more articulate, oddly enough, and certainly talented magicians in the universe, describing that he feels like the Chinese linking rings were past it. And this was already 20 years ago. I tend to think that any of the tricks in magic, if done beautifully by a great performer, can be wonderful.
I think the unique problem with the linking rings is the fact that it is the cliched magic trick, right? Whenever they're, when Bobby Brady wants to do some magic for the talent show, they give the kid some rings. Like what, I mean, that's like what they do throughout the history of television writing. And I think it's really taken a lot away from what that trick is. If you've seen Richard Ross, I mean, it's unbelievable, right? I mean, it's the most beautiful thing you've ever seen. And there's many, many others. Richard Ross is just the first one that comes to mind. But, I wish I could say that I could argue with what Teller said.
Yeah, I mean, I just tend to feel like look, I think if you have the audience's attention and they're watching and you do a beautiful ring routine, you can't figure out how it's done. It looks like magic and it's amazing. But again, with any piece of magic or magic in general, you're often working with the audience's preconceived feelings, what they are bringing in with them. Sure. And I suppose your material can either help or work against that. You know what I mean? So it's really quite a personal decision, but I certainly doubt that there's a lay audience out there that's ever given it as much thought on this level as we have, right?
I definitely think they just have two thoughts. I like it or I don't.
Well said, sir. Well said. This is a wonderful opportunity because Aldo's taking us all the way around the world. Let's see what's next. Here we go. Well, this is this is one that I almost feel that way about.
In a deck like this, a small packet and you turn it over, you will cut deeply and you turn over all the cards and you will find the first face down cards will be indifferent, any cards at all. Would you like to do it? You would do this, you just cut a small packet and you turn it over. Wonderful job. Cut more deeply now, Barbara, please, and turn them over. Wonderful. Would you like to take the first face down card and show it to the camera? Don't show the card to me, please, just show to the camera. Wonderful. I will place these cards on the deck like this. Look, this is your card, Barbara. Yes, it's your card. Wonderful. Just one packet here, one packet here, one packet here. We leave some card face down, some cards face up on top, some cards face down like this on top, and some card face up. Wonderful. So to find your selected card, I have many chances. One chances could be if I'll be able to turn over all the cards face up except your selected card. It will be a great job. So look, this is amazing. All the cards are face up except, I miss it. 3 cards are face down. One. So, Barbara, this is not your card? No, 3 of clubs. Is this your card? 6 of clubs? No. But if I had together these 2 cards, 6 and 3 of clubs, and we have one more card face down, and this is your selected card.
Well, what are we to say to that? That's it's interesting. We were just talking about how the Chinese linking rings has maybe a reputation for being done to death in such a way that Bobby Brady on the Brady Bunch? Yes. Would be handed some rings for the magic episode of the Brady Bunch. This is not a trick because people don't know the names of card trick plots. at all. They don't even know Chinese.
Right.
They just know card trick, right? But this is probably the single most varied card trick in the entire universe. The cards are mixed face up, face down. They're all turned right again. It's hard to imagine a trick that has seen more variations with less to distinguish them. You know, more distinctions without a difference. And this one is a lovely, simple construction that allows you to not have to do hardly anything at the end.
Yeah, right. It
I
doesn't
mean,
look like a lot of other ones either. This looks more like magic. You know what I mean? Whereas I think some, and like we said, you can do it a lot of different ways.
mhm.
But it looks like magic because of the prediction to it, right? The 3 and the 6 equals the 9. As opposed to, I think when you do a normal triumph, it seems more like a skill kind of thing. More.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's one of the problems with Triumph is it has a it can be a really, really strong trick, but I think every card guy does it, every
Mm-hmm.
card edition does it. And in so many cases, it almost plays like a throwaway.
Yeah,
I don't think
I can
this,
see that.
but I don't think this one really did. I feel like it's something we can certainly discuss a little bit more sometime when we're not on the public airways and we want to get into how these things work and why. We try not to do that when people don't
Mm-hmm.
know the secrets. But this is a pretty easy one to do. It looks like magic. It's obviously got a lovely displays in it, and I have to say Aldo's very good with displays.
Mm.
When we say display, we're talking about when he's showing the cards a face up and face down. And of course, you can show those things in a way that's very convincing. And you can show those things in a way that's pleasing to the eye. And I think for a lot of card magicians, being able to do things that are pleasing to the eye while not juggling, but certainly pleasant to look at, it's one of the tools a card magician has in their quiver, which I think Aldo was just exceedingly smart about and good about. He always made the things look pretty to watch, and
Mm.
he was a nice guy, and that came across. And he handled the cards in a nice way, and it's fun to watch. And I think and a lot of magicians would like the method because it's almost like he used every part of the fish. He
Right.
didn't have to throw away any bones at the end. He cleaned the deer, and then everyone made lampshades out of the antlers. You know what I mean? There was no, leave no traces. That's all we'll say right now about that one. Let's see what's Aldo going to show us next. I'm excited about this one
Yeah.
because I like a nice jazz assembly. Let's watch Jazz and the Kings.
Oh, this is a routine which doesn't need any spectator at all. Just you can show your ability to the spectators, and uses 2 packets of cards. I just take one, just take the other one, like this. Okay. I have here 4 cold cards. It happen to be the 4 kings, and I place them on the table like this. And don't forget, this will be the leader king. And I have here 4 black cards. 4 black cards. Just I put 1 black card on top of the king, and I place a king between the 3 black cards. Look, and they change position. So we have 4 black cards here. I'll do it again. 1 black card here. The second king among the black cards. We have 4 black cards again. Don't forget we have 3 cards here. I tried the last time. And we have 4 black cards. And of course, you want to see it, I have here the 4 kings, of course, 4 kings. I do it again, just the 4 kings on the table, 1 black card on top, the second card on top, the third card on top, and the fourth card on top. So we have on each pair a king and a black card, king and a black card, king and black, king and black. Very slowly this time. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 black cards, and of course here we have 1, 2, 3, 4 black cards. Suddenly up in my mind a question: where are the kings? Look, I find the king. No, it's not a king. It's a 2 kings over here. another king. Just have one. By throwing a king in the deck like this, four king.
What I rest my case. What could be a better example of something that is pleasing to the eye?
Mm-hmm.
You
Very
know?
fun,
Yeah, pleasant, really pretty easy to do, and therefore you really see why it's so appealing to magicians around the world. Pretty easy to do, looks really nice, a lot of lovely displays, and not too taxing on the brain. And also,
Right.
you know what, very direct, very simple and direct in effect.
Yep.
You know, all those Ascanio spreads and everything. You know, interesting choice, but simple and easy to follow in grok, right? Absolutely wonderful.
Right.
So the jazz assembly, everybody, is a one of a time ace assembly with just, you know, the four kings and a few black cards, and you just do them one at a time. There's so many different variations of that one, but you know, Aldo was really great at playing with the different building blocks there, the Legos, and making lovely different buildings. You know,
I think it's a fun little routine, and like you said, it's not too hard, but it looks really good. It looks really good.
yeah, and all those little productions at the end are totally like, you know, take them or leave them as you please. And I'm sure that's what he said. You know, I feel like maybe Aldo did a different productions pretty often when he did them too. You know what I mean?
Yeah. He just
Kind of
did
looked,
whatever he wanted.
yeah, it sort of looked like after the first king came back, you went, okay, what'll I do now? You know, let's try this one. This will be two, and we got one left.
Yeah, right.
But it's a, you know, magicians love the Elmsley count. They love the Elmsley count. They love the Ascanio spread, and generally speaking, if you do a show or a magic lecture that's nothing but Ascanio spreads and Elmsley counts, everyone will be very pleased. You know?
Mm-hmm.
There's plenty of stuff you can do. You know,
Accessible.
that's right. It's absolutely wonderful. But again, he's got that European handling style, which allows him to do stuff like that. I wouldn't necessarily feel as safe doing all those Ascanio spreads because when I do the magic, I really try not to have a lot of stuff like that. So they would stick out if I did it. It just really depends a lot on your style. And I think until the magician knows enough about their own style to make decisions like that, it's sort of a dynamic that's not even really something they get to work with. You know what I mean? Because they're doing everything. You can do everything. There's nothing you can't do. So in a way, did you find, Steve, as you got comfortable with your character and began to really understand yourself, did it get easier for you that so much magic became sort of immediately disqualified for you?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, when you say it like that, that makes it seem like it was a conscious decision from point A to point B, and it's just kind of not. So I think a lot of it was trial and error, right? It's like I knew kind of what I was doing, and then when I'd bring something else in, it wouldn't work, and then you'd figure out why it wasn't working for a while and how to make it work, and then if you couldn't, make it fit in with what you were doing, then it kind of got tossed out. I don't. Boy, it's a tough question. It's a tough question.
I didn't mean it to be. I do feel like it certainly it's trial and error, like you say. But at a certain point, you begin to have a sense of what your thing is and what fits and what doesn't, and you don't have to necessarily suffer in every experiment, right?
Yeah, for the most part, I'd agree with that. But then again, I think you should be able to do anything. You have to figure out the path, right?
Steve is an actor, a trained actor, and I did some of that in school myself. But there's a certain you learn your casting in acting.
Yeah.
And for a lot of guys, such as myself, one of the things you learn is that you can want to be a leading man type. Everyone kind of wants to be a leading man type, but your teachers have to express to you at a certain point, if you're not a leading man type, that you're what's called a character type. right?
You're a character actor.
You're a character actor. You're interesting
Character
to
actor.
watch, but you're probably not going to be that tall, strapping male lead because you're never going to be the tallest, strappingest lead around. And so I think for all of us as magicians who are our own director, our own casting director, our own writer, our own performer, well, one of the things we like about magic is we get to set our own course. We get to choose what we like to do because we like to do it. And the only thing that's stopping us is our own sense of good taste and listening to an audience. So I think maybe that's a little bit about what Steve's getting at, is that we've all got the right to try anything that tickles our fancy and see how it fits into the
I think
what we're doing.
There's in my opinion, I think that there's too much talk. I think I don't want to make this go any deeper than it is. We'll just pass on that comment. Just suffice it to say, if there's something you want to do, you really got to find the way to do it, as opposed to just simply abandoning it because it doesn't seem like it fits.
Fair enough.
Makes sense. We'll just
absolutely. And of course, that's a place where creativity, I think a lot of magic creativity goes into fixing problems that aren't problems, and variations that are different but not necessarily better,
Right.
But it's different when you're trying to take something and make it work for you. And so I think what Steve's raising is a very real place where magicians can use their creativity and have to use their creativity if they want to make progress, right? You have to figure out what it is about the thing you like that doesn't play for you and find out how to make it play for you in a way that makes it feel like it was built for you. Very, very exciting. And I don't even, it's so funny, what were we watching just now? Were we still on Jazz and the
Jazz
King?
Aces.
All that from a Jazz Ace assembly.
Jazz Kings,
The one thing Aldo knew how to do was pick magic that fit him extremely well. And even this early Aldo has that. Now we're going to watch Aldo use a piece of magic invented by Theodore Bamberg, went by the name of Okido, a Dutch Hebrew who went by the name of Okido, a Chinese sorcerer. These days they would call it cultural misappropriation, I suppose. But let's watch this Okido box routine, because that's something I think we all wish. I hear Steve all the time saying, man, I wish I could see more Okido box routines. Well, Steve, now here's your chance.
Well,
it's true. Of magic is the Okido box routine. And many routines are seen the life with this small apparatus, and I will show you one example of a Okido box routine. So you need just 4 coins, small box, and a playing card. And just I will take up the coin with a playing card, 2, 3, and this coin will be the leader one. So just invisible, I will take a coin like this from the box and I will drop underneath the card. You don't believe me? Look, I show you. Just we have 2 coins on the box. 1 and 2 and the lead. And here underneath the card we have 2 coins. I show again 2 coins over here, 2 coins on the table. Look, I will take always invisibly away. And so we have 3 coins underneath the card like this, and still 1 coin in the box. So 1 coin in the box and 3 underneath the card. Yes, look, I place simply the box on top of the card like this, and here we have 4 coins, just a Okido box and 1 card.
It's a nice handling. I don't think I've quite seen that exactly like that.
No, me neither. But again, I could watch it all night. It's just lovely to see, It's absolutely. I don't have a lot of commentary about that Okido box routine, I've seen a few great Okido box routines along the day, but again, those great Okido box routines were beasts. They were heavy duty. They were almost designed to be, and intense moves and, stuff like that. But you can be pretty assured that if you're working with Aldo's, it was going to be accessible. Which isn't to say that Aldo wasn't a skillful guy. He was a very skillful guy, but I think he was real smart about knowing that you're not supposed to be pushing yourself to the edge of your technical limits when you're on stage in front of an audience. You're supposed to be choosing stuff that you can do and smile and have a good time. And as David is getting at, he's always in a nice, soothing mode. So he was never doing stuff that made him lose that because he knew how central it was to what was making him work. So we've got one more today, folks. We're saving it for the end, just the same way they always do, because it's just that special. So let's watch and we'll let you figure out what it's called.
Here is the oldest trick on magic, cups and bowls. And here we'll have my presentation, which brought me a FISM award. And I would like to share it with you right now. Just 3 bowls and 3 cups. And for your double enjoyment, I will not talk about during this routine.
Well, it seemed to have lost the audio. What can you say?
It's hard to find a better example of what made Aldo so lovely, right? I mean, it was just wonderful, right?
Yeah, that was great. I mean, it's and very unique too. A lot of
It,
unique things in there, that I think are probably Aldo, you know.
and the basis of it is what we used to call the self-working routine. The basis of Aldo's routine is a very easy routine that you can teach a person who's never the basis. Not it certainly builds on that a lot, but a great deal of it is not hard to do, but it's very pleasant to watch. You're watching these wonderful things are dancing around, right? And a lot of what made it really pretty is based on that simple choreography, right? And then he layered surprises into that. So you really get to see how good he is with those displays, how wonderful he is with making things pleasing to the eye, and how in this case he was able to put that all together into something that uses all that to fool the audience, and certainly to even fool and amaze magicians with some real beautiful surprises that you wouldn't see coming at the end, uh, unless you really just knew it already. Wasn't it pretty, Steve?
It was beautiful, and I'd just like to say I forgot how metal Aldo really was. He just looks so metal. That shirt, killer. It's just screaming 80s with the unconstructed blazer. I love it. I love it. I love it.
It's a real kind of like sanitarium, very, 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 very leper messiah.
Mm-hmm.
Very nice.
Just awesome.
That was a lovely thing, and we can see why he won that FISM award for it, because it's a beautiful, beautiful routine, and just absolutely just pleasant to watch him handle the props, and the surprises keep happening. And like you say, clearly some real Aldo right in there, some stuff that you won't see anywhere else.
I don't that display with the, and he's stealing out the ball. I've never seen anybody do that.
No, me neither. And it's absolutely wonderful. And of course, really very, very much more of it, of the most basic routine than you ever get to see. I used to tell people for years, that basic routine is sensational and great. And, you can really, when you're a kid, and you're trying to figure out what magic you can do, where it's going to work,
Mm-hmm.
and you want to do the stuff that looks like the big magicians you saw did. And, someone's got to really help you understand that it's going to look real good when you do it this way, if you believe in it. He was doing a lot of that stuff in this routine.